Yes, it's very okay.
What about Franz?
You mean Franz and Joseph?
Yeah.
They're happy and healthy. We're not going to talk about them. What did we call this panel in the book? Yes, presenting Furry Fandom to the public. You see, KP wanted to call it presenting Furry Fandom to the media, but really, very, very few of you are going to actually be approached by the media. More often than not, you're going to be approached by a tiny little old lady who's staring at the hotel, and she's going to come up to you very, very shyly, and she's going to ask the question which is almost universally stated the same way. What is all this? I have heard that question dozens, if not hundreds of times. What is all this? And the purpose of this panel is to give you some pointers as to what to say. So let us say that there's, fursuiters out there and people jumping around and we got decks doing magic and everything, and some nice little old lady comes by and she says to you, what is all this? What do you say? Yeah, thank you. Boy, I'm glad you're here. Well, that's one answer. What would you say? That's another answer. Okay, now I see what I have to work with. All right. One of the most common answers people give is the answer we would give to each other. It's a furry convention. The old lady doesn't know what that means. She doesn't know the word furry. She is, that's a buzzword. When you're asked the question, what is all this? It's very important simply to use plain language and words that people understand. And that's why I describe it as a cartoon convention. Cartoon animals. Everybody knows what cartoons are, and cartoon. The word cartoon is a very positive sounding word. People have a positive reaction. Cartoons are cool, cartoons are cute, cartoons are nifty. If this is a cartoon convention, the images in that person's head will be cool and cute and nifty images. And that person will right away be predisposed to liking us. When you speak to another person, the way this works, this is not professional psychology, this is drunken drivel, but it's true drivel. When you speak to somebody, as the words go in, the mind forms images that become associated with what's being said. So if I go up to you and I say, we're all cartoon fans, the images that show up in the person's head are Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd getting a pie in the face, fun stuff. You want to describe it in terms they understand and terms that are Simple and positive. I'm going to say that word a lot. Because if you call it a furry convention, you're using a word this person doesn't understand. If you use a word people don't understand, that is kind of a negative association. Because the person will feel lost. They'll feel kind of stupid, like they're supposed to know what that is. And that puts them off. It's like, oh, right, whatever. Please do not use buzzwords. Good heavens, we have all sorts of slang. We got our own buzzwords around here. Don't call it a funny animal convention. Funny Animal was the name of a 4-color comic in the 1950s. I don't think this old lady read that comic, and I don't think she's going to understand what that is. And cartoon animals. Costumes. Please shy away from the word fursuit. Because fursuit kind of sounds like something PETA's going to chase you for, right? Which they did. You hear about that story out. And by tonight, you'll hear all about that shit. Okay. Look at this. We have costumers here. People like to dress in costumes. We have puppeteers. We have artists. We have performers. We have animators. All these things are exciting words. They are all positive things. There is an overwhelming tendency, especially among furries who've been in the fandom for a while and who have lived through some of the nightmares of Vanity Fair and MTV and CSI. All of that stuff made my job difficult as somebody who tries to be a good spokesman for furry fandom. However, you must not be defensive. And please, if you take nothing else away, remember this phrase: you must not attempt to describe what we are by listing what we are not. Because remember, as I said, when you speak, you're putting images in the person's head. If you come up to me and you say, "What is all this?" and I say, "I'm not a sex fiend." Well, there's the image in the person's head. It doesn't matter that I used the word "not." That image is in there. My favorite example that I like to use is the motorcycle enthusiast who is at a convention with a bunch of his hairy, leather-clad, chains and brass knuckle-wearing colleagues. And somebody sees this rough and tumble group all gathered together in one place. And he starts to ask about this. If the motorcycle enthusiast says, "Well, very few of us have ever actually been to jail. A lot of people think that we're a bunch of murdering thugs. I think maybe only 2 or 3% of us ever murdered anybody. And you probably heard about drug use. We don't do much of that at all. And yeah, we might occasionally get into fights and stuff, and there's sometimes some blood, and I think we killed a cop once, but you can't judge all of us by what 2 or 3 of us do." This man is trying desperately to dissociate himself from that, but what's going through your mind right now? You want to get as far away from this guy as you can, because your mind is filled with images of violence, death, and horror. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hang on a second, sidebar. Now let's not do it in front of the speaker. What time is it? 2:10. Joe's plane is arriving at 2:20. They will probably call this phone. So I'll tell you what, hang on to this for me. I'm back. What is it?
We just surpassed 3,400 attendees.
Okay. This started out as a party. This used to be fun. Anyway, let's pause right here. Does anybody have any questions as to what I've covered so far? When somebody says, "What is all this?" as to what to say. Yes, sir.
Do you ever recommend trying to immediately not associate rather than if you know or just assume that the person might be of an era that might already be aware of the negative associations that are out there?
Never assume that they're aware. Never assume that they're aware, because that's the thing. Well, you might have seen the CSI episode. They might have seen it but wasn't thinking about it. Now they are. Don't assume they've seen anything negative. Assume they've not heard anything at all. You're working with a clean slate. You can actually form the image, the first impression. Remember, first impressions are lasting impressions. You can give this person their first impression of furry fandom. And you likely are.
Convert them.
Convert them, make them one of us.